Hello. It is me, and my phone is on 13%, so I'm trying to do this quickly before it runs out. So, it is that time of year now where exam season's approaching. Yay! I have my exam soon, and I'm not ready. But anyway, I know that um language speaking exams are soon. I had mine this time last year. Oh my gosh, it was a year ago. That's hard to believe. And I thought that I'd do a video on how to get the top marks, or how to get a lot of marks for the speaking and writing language exams. This video is going to be quite broad. I'm talking quite quickly because I don't want to overrun. But this video is going to be quite broad, and it's going to be all languages, so not just Spanish, French, Italian, but also German, Mandarin, Portuguese, Japanese, pretty much all language specifications. First thing to say though, I am not a language teacher or an examiner, so of course, always refer to the specification or to your teacher or head of languages or anyone. But these are just general tips that I got from my teachers that I thought were quite useful. So let's get into it. So the number one first thing that I suggest you do for reading and for writing and speaking is use at least four tenses. So you may be thinking there's only three tenses, past, present, future, but there's more. There's for the future, like for Spanish, for example, we have the preterite, which is I did something, but then there's also the imperfect, which is I used to do something. For the present, there is I do, like I make a cake, but there's also another one which goes I am making a cake. For the future is I am going to do something, but then there's also I will do something. So, and then there's also the conditional, which is if I would do this. So if you use all four, like one of the past, one of the present, one of the future, and one of the conditional, and perhaps use like two futures or two pasts or something, that shows the examiner that you know your tenses and you understand the difference, so that would really impress them. And since you have more variety, you get more marks. And speaking of more variety, I like although it is tempting to say I like a lot. If the examiner sees it again and again, it just gets boring and it doesn't really vary your writing. So use a variety. Instead of just saying I like Spanish, I like German, I like swimming, I like going to the cinema, you could say I enjoy going to the cinema. Science interests me. I find going on roller coasters exciting. I find history fascinating, and also explain why. It's not enough to say I like doing this, but also just say why you like doing this. Like, I enjoy going to the cinema because I find the plots really interesting, and because I like discussing the movies with my friends. I like learning history because it is interesting to see how things have changed over the years. And by the way, I know some of the sentences I'm saying are quite complicated, so don't worry. I'm just trying to not say things in Spanish or Italian or Swedish. I'm just trying to cover all languages. And also try and include other people's opinions. So instead of just saying you could say I don't like playing chess. However, my dad loves playing chess because he finds it interesting. But also, and then say if you agree. For Spanish is no estoy de acuerdo, which means I don't agree, and then estoy de acuerdo means I agree. So you could say, my mum thinks that work experience is very helpful. However, I do not agree because the work experience that I did was not helpful to me because all I did was photocopying, or something like that. I'm just trying to think of GCSE topics. And speaking of tenses, try to use the subjunctive. now I'm not sure if this is used in every language, but for Spanish, the subjunctive is if you have doubt, ask your teacher to explain it. Same with everything I'm saying. If you don't understand it, go to your teacher. Like that's your number one source, or someone someone in the older years, or a tutor or anyone. And if you use the subjunctive, it really impresses the examiner, and because it's quite not complicated, but like complex, so it really impresses the examiner. And there's also the imperfect subjunctive. Again, I'm not sure if this is just Spanish, but and it basically goes, if I could do this, I would do this. So like, if I was rich, I would go travel the world. If I had more free time, I would learn another language, etc. like that. I try to use those sentences a lot. Actually, not subjunctive, but actually I did a test on it this morning. But and then also this is a weird one, but I always thought with some topics you study, like food, dancing. Actually, I'm not sure if dancing's covered, but maybe especially with food. Instead of just saying I like chips, I like chocolate, etc., like common things, and not just for food but for everything, try to use like vocabulary that you think that not everyone's going to use, so then it kind of impresses the examiner, knows, and so the examiner will know that you know more than just the basics. And a thing that I thought would be helpful with food is if you try to include cuisine, like from the country. So for example, for Spanish you can use gazpacho or la tortilla, etc. And also, again, what I said about it is, if you like it or dislike it, or you don't really have an opinion, explain why. Say, oh, I don't like the taste, or I really like the smell, or I love it, but it takes ages to prepare, etc. Or I love these shoes, but they are too expensive. And also comparison. So you could say these shoes are more. I don't know if you get a question on this, but I don't know. This subject is more easier than this other subject. However, in the other subject, I get more homework. But in the other subject, I prefer the teacher, and thus I prefer something more than this. Actually, I don't know if you need to include. I don't know. And also exclamatives, like I don't know, like this is mainly like varying your sentences, and I'll get back to that afterwards. And a common one is using idioms, like metaphors and similes, like expressions. If you don't have any, ask your teacher for some common ones from your language, and try to like use them in your writing and in your speaking, because that really impresses examiners. And because your answers, whether it's in writing tasks or speaking tasks, they kind of they want to show your language, and you can show that you know your language a lot by varying your writing, and that's why I keep saying vary your writing, expand your writing, so then you can show that you know a lot of the language. And also negatives, like instead of just saying I like, I enjoy, etc., you can also say I don't enjoy, or I don't like, or I don't want to go, or I didn't do this, etc. Just so then they know how to use it. Questions as well, especially in the speaking, you have to ask the examiner a question. A tip that my old teacher gave me was that if you feel comfortable on a certain topic, whether it is food or work experience or school uniform or whatever topic that you feel most comfortable with, when you have to ask a question, try to ask it on the topic that you feel most comfortable with. So and so then the examiner will probably ask you, what about you, and then you have the chance to talk about it. And also try to use time phrases. And like last night I did this, last week I did this, usually I do this, 2 years ago I did this, in a year I'm going to do this, next summer I'm going to do this, tomorrow, yesterday, blah 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 blah, sometimes, frequently, etc., always, nearly always, etc., nearly never, never, etc. And also complex languages and prepositions. Like instead of this was a weird one, so I'm not 100% sure, but check with your teachers. Prepos I was thinking instead of just saying something like I like soup, it is great. Also say something. Try varying sentences. Like you could say, "I love soup!" Exclamation mark. It is great. Instead of saying "I think that soup is great," because then you have different sentences. You use exclamatives, etc. And also try saying, "I find something great," or "It seems to me that it is great." Again, varying your language. And okay, I'm nearly run out of battery, so I need to be quick. A common phrase that my teacher gave me was I hope you are well to use in your writing, because a lot of the time it is writing letters. They're like write a letter to your friend and say blah blah blah. What saying I hope you're well, because not only does that use the you tense, and again try to use lots of tense like they do, we do, you do, etc. But in context, because so then they know that you know more to say than just I do something. And it also uses the subjunctive, and thus it really impresses the examiner, and it shows the examiner that you understand the task, because now they write the questions in Spanish. I mean in the language, and if you go and also try to use questions, like maybe you could say I don't know, just right. Maybe you can include a couple of questions, just so then they know you know how to use it, especially with Spanish, because Spanish for exclamation marks and question marks they have them at the beginning of the sentence, but upside down. So it would be good if you showed the examiner that you know how to use it. And okay, I need to be quick. If you go wrong in the exam, don't worry. Like it is like quite an intense period, like especially in the speaking. And if you I was speaking to the head of languages, and she told me that if you go wrong but you correct yourself, then that's fine. You won't get marked down. And pronunciation, it is important. Like try to understand how certain letters or certain words are pronounced. Like that is quite, it'll get you more marks. But especially the words that you use again and again, and the sounds you use again and again. But don't worry about too much. And like if you've said the sentence and it didn't, and you don't think it's gone well, if you want to repeat it, you could say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I meant this," but in the language. Say, so if I was speaking in a language and I made a mistake, I could just be like, "Oh, sorry," and then just correct myself. Then that's fine. And you can also ask the examiner again in the language. Don't say it in English, otherwise you'll get marked down. But you could ask the examiner to speak more slowly, or you could ask them to repeat the question. And because they understand that it is an intense time, and also it's meant to sound like a normal conversation, which is why try to seem relaxed. I know that it's hard, but like try to seem like you're just talking to your teacher or the examiner in a foreign language. Not that you're in an exam, and this exam is really important. Try to relax, and also with the photo card. So with the photo card, let me just check if I have battery. Oh gosh, that was awful. With the photo card, if you don't know what to say, look at the photo. What can you see? Like if it was a picture of people celebrating, I would say, okay, I can see balloons. I can see a lot of people. They seem happy. I presume that they are celebrating a birthday party because there are presents everywhere. That cake, that I can see a chocolate cake. That cake looks really nice. If I this picture makes me happy because it reminds me of my birthday party last year where I had a lot of fun. Next year I think I will use that cake because it looks really nice. If I could have any wrapping, I would use that wrapping that's in the card. Like just trying to like use your language for that photo, and just trying to like show emotions, like as I said, but not too much, and just trying to like analyze it. And you can say like the colors in this picture are bright, or they're quite, or they're not, or you can say the background is full of clouds or something. It depends on what the picture is. And with the roleplay, this is a weird one, but just know what to refer to as your examiner, because for Spanish and for several other languages, they have the you tense, and then they also have the you polite tense, then they also have the you plural tense. So they usually tell you which one to refer to, but just make sure that you know that. And with remembering the sentences, because I know a lot of people are remembering sentences and answers now. If you're struggling to remember them, try to remember them bit by bit. So if you wrote a whole paragraph and you're trying to learn it, first try learning the first sentence. Read it, say it out loud, and then try to say it yourself throughout the note. Then check yourself, and then read it again. Then try learning the next sentence. Do the same, and then try learning both together. And then try learning the third sentence, and then learn it all together. Then try learning the fourth sentence, etc., etc., and then keep reminding yourself. And then when you start learning the next paragraph, at the end, go quickly back to the previous one, so then you remind yourself. Well, that's what I did. That's how I learned it for Spanish and Italian, and English. No, not English. What am I on about? That's what I did. And I also I went through them before I went to bed, and I also went through them in the morning before I started my work when I was revising for speaking. And also, if you can, if you have it soon, try going over your vocab just in case, just so then you can understand anything. And also try going quickly through your grammar. But seriously, now it is time to finish this video. Sorry that has been quite rambly, but good luck for your exams. Especially speaking, I'm sure that you guys will do great. If you've been working hard, then it is great. But if things have not gone so well, then seriously, don't worry. Like, you still have time. And worrying, I know that it's really hard. I do it so much, but worrying will not do anything. So try to stay calm. And yeah. So good luck, guys, and bye.